always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Connecting the Jamaican diaspora abroad and at home.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story, highlighting the positive role of the Jamaican diaspora.
Do you have an opening? No, sir. It's supposed to be in Studio Road 6, Georgia. There's a promo in the system here.
Time now for both sides of the story on Power 106 FM. We will not take sides, but we listen to your side. Join us as we explore the issues, present the facts, speak with the experts, and as always, listen to both sides. What's your story? Tell us on both sides of the story. 922-4112, 922-4113, 922-4114, and 922-4115. You can listen to both sides of the story on the Gleaner's website, www.the-jamaica.com, on your mobile phones at tunein.com or nobex.com, or by dialing 832-551-5045 or 213-493-0133 in the USA. If you're in the UK, you can dial 020-3519-0145, and in Germany, 051-180-904044. Our email address is bothsides106@live.com, and you can join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo, and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
The road ahead is empty. It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way it is. Horizon in the distance, so close, and yet so far away. You shouldn't be surprised when all has flown away, and fear's not here to stay. The road ahead never gives away the promise. The road ahead is a highway or a dead-end street. Dead-end street. Raindrops on your windscreen, they fall from heaven or from hell. You drive into the light or into darkness. Uncertainty as your guide. The road ahead will never give away the promise. It's a highway or a dead street. Never answers any questions, and nothing is sure along the way, not even tomorrow. Miles of the unknown ahead. The road ahead is empty. It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way it is.
It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and 2022 marks the start of the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 31st and a final day of the first month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. In the United States, it's the last day of Human Trafficking Awareness Month and Mentorship Month, and here in Jamaica, Earthquake Awareness Month is at an end. It's Independence Day in Nauru. Hoy es lunes el 31 de enero 2022. Y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos.
You drive into the light or into darkness. Uncertainty.
C'est lundi le 31 janvier 2022 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez, où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
Miles of the unknown.
All we're saying is it's Monday, the 31st and final day in the month of January 2022, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Miles of the unknown.
We started off this afternoon with the poetry of Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, F-R-O-S-T. And we paired that with the song entitled The Road Ahead by City to City. The Road Ahead by City to City. And that's an indication that our focus this afternoon on both sides of the story is road safety. And we're looking forward to engaging in discussions with key stakeholders in this business of road safety. And that includes all of us. All of us are stakeholders in this business of road safety. Good afternoon to those listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Morant Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point, this is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you can download from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We thank you if you're one of those people who now hit us up via our call-in lines. If you've joined that line, then it means that you are either in the United States or the United Kingdom. Those in the United States who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631-359-8281. 631-359-8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330-606-0953. 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. Looking forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, the Road Safety Edition.
Whatever.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. The National Irrigation Commission Limited encourages efficient irrigation practices and responsible use of water. By doing so, we will allow the aquifer to be recharged and keep the supply flowing. A message from the National Irrigation Commission Limited. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Consumer Talks, educating and empowering consumers towards a more vigilant and confident consumer-friendly Jamaica. Join us every second and last Tuesday of each month at 9:35 on Real Business. Listen and learn about your rights and responsibilities. Learn how the CAC works to empower consumers in Jamaica. Consumer Talks, brought to you by the Consumer Affairs Commission, protecting your rights, securing our future.
It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us and watching us on Facebook Live, like Norman Hines in St. Thomas. Good afternoon to you, and we accept afternoon greetings on behalf of our listeners as well. Ranny Bell says, happy birthday, blessings to you too, Ranny Bell. Carol in Calgary, Alberta, Canada says, good afternoon, Dervan and fellow listeners. Windy and freezing in Calgary. Stay warm, Carol in Calgary. Adolf Wash says, taking the path less traveled. Indeed, so it is, Adolf. He says, good afternoon, Dervan. I saw you recently celebrated another anniversary of your wedding. Congratulations to you and your wife. I wish you both many blessings for all the years to come. Thank you very much, Adolf Wash. All the very best to you and yours. Van Bullens, good afternoon to you. Sophia Nemard in Newell, St. Elizabeth. Good to have you joining us as well. Thank you. Over on YouTube, let's say hi to some people here. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. Diana Watkis says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm and listeners. Renee Lerman says, I can't wait to call in. Employee discrimination and bullying is real in Jamaica. I'm seeking advice for what happened to my nephew. I won't stop until something is done or young people are trying. Oh dear. Sorry to hear of that situation. Let's see if we can talk some more on that. Cherry Henry says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and listeners. Lots of rain in St. Mary today. Hope you're managing to stay dry, Cherry Henry. Renee Lerman says, look at the crime rate in Jamaica. If our young people are trying, let them. I will not stop until the establishment and others in Jamaica start treating employees fairly. I need your help, sir. Ready when you're ready, Renee Lerman. Donovan Campbell says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I hope you're doing well. I'm truly grateful to God for life. Same here, Donovan Campbell. Thank you very much for your message. Good afternoon again, Ricardo. Karine Campbell says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I am elated to hear that work will begin next month on the urban center in St. Thomas. This was promised to us by the government a long time now. I am from St. Thomas, says Karine. St. Thomas is the new frontier, and we seem to be enjoying a purple patch in terms of our listenership out of St. Thomas. We're grateful for that. Thank you to the people of St. Thomas. And we hope to chronicle your journey in that project that is supposed to start the new town, or the new town. Can't call it a city, the new town. Or the new town center in St. Thomas. We look forward to that. And some WhatsApp messages. Inez Iona Campbell, good afternoon to you. Thank you for sharing the pictures. And this says, oh, you're most welcome, you both. Well, thank you very much for the anniversary greetings. Ras Asta Black, good afternoon to you. Opal in East Bronx says, well, she did send us a message with pictures and all of what was happening in that nor'easter, that snowstorm in the northeast United States along the eastern seaboard. And she did inform us that her mom told her to share with us what's happening. And so we did, and we responded to her as well. And she says, thank you, Dervan. In reference to her mom, she says, she listens to you every day. Your program is very educational and informative. Please say hello to her later. Miss May. Miss May, that's another Miss May. I don't think that's the same Miss May I know in Clarendon. Miss May, her May is spelled M-A-E. And she is in Smithville in Clarendon. That's Faye Ellington's mom. I believe this is another Miss May we're meeting here. May you continue to be safe, Opal in East Bronx. All the very best. Stay safe and warm. James in East London is updating us on what his Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been up to. Boris Johnson apologizes as he reveals plans to release updated Sue Gray report. That's the report into parties at 10 Downing Street, the official residence and offices of the British Prime Minister. And thank you for the usual news updates, James in East London. Thank you very much. Crocs in Black River says, good day, Mr. Malcolm. A friend of mine recently visited from America, and during the visit, his son-in-law suffered a medical emergency from which he sadly later died. Oh, we're terribly sorry to hear that, Crocs. Goodness, sorry to hear that. When the incident occurred, my friend in a panic rushed out without a mask in his haste to get the person to medical care. While on his way, he was stopped by a policeman who charged him for not wearing a mask, a charge for which he had to pay a fine of $100,000. Oh no, really? But if he was he in his car? Hold on. Without a mask, in his haste to get the person to medical care, while on his way, was he walking or driving? While on his way, he was stopped by a policeman. Give us a little more here, Crocs. Because if he was driving, then it's neither here nor there if he was driving. If he was walking on the street, I don't know. This came up some time ago as to whether what the Disaster Risk Management Act actually says. Don't want to make any pronouncements on that, but give us a little more information, Crocs. I'll continue reading your message though. Now contrast and compare that with how Floyd Green and his, I'm going to substitute the word you have used here, Crocs, and his colleagues were treated. If the HOGS, capital HOGS, continue to consume all the eggs and milk in their mash, then the rest of the animals will soon come to the conclusion that they should start consuming some well-nourished pork in their mash. Thank you very much, Crocs in Black River, for your message. Again, we're sorry to hear of your friend. We'd love to just confirm if your friend was in his rush on the road on foot, or was he in a vehicle? Just that's a bit of information we'd love to get. Please share. But again, sorry to hear of your friend. This one says, good afternoon, Sir D. I hope the police are ensuring that they recover those guns from the men caught on camera killing innocent people. If they don't, then it would be solving just part of the problem. And this person sends us another message. There's a culvert that runs under the Waltham Park Road in the vicinity of the Oliver Gospel Chapel, which has been blocked for weeks now. It's a shame. It's damaging the road there and also impeding traffic. Hope it will be fixed soon. We're not holding out any hope there, listener, because we know that area very, very well. For decades, we're very familiar with that area. Very familiar with that area. And it has always been like that. And we're not going to hold our breath that that is going to be, things are going to be different anytime soon. Maybe we should ask Stephen Shaw when he joins us later on, when we focus exclusively on road safety matters. We have to do better than that, though. Do the experts before, during, and after heavy rains monitor certain areas, take pictures, investigate certain movements within those areas, and then during, they make sure they are properly secure and they're wearing personal protective equipment, and they go out there to check the flow of the water and where it settles? And do they afterwards go to go back to the site? I'm just saying, it's just the done thing. If we're looking to solve a problem, then we have to examine it from all angles, before, during, and after, to be able to come to a conclusion as to how we're going to resolve that recurring problem. Thank you for your message. We hope this time will be different, but we're not holding out much hope on that area being fixed. Let's go to James in East London. Oh, we read that message already. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary, says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Monday to you and your listeners. I went to a branch of BNS, that's the Bank of Nova Scotia, this morning, wanted to use the restroom. I asked the security to point me to the restroom, only to be told that there's no restroom provided for the public. Mr. Malcolm, after the banks are milking so much money from the public, not even a restroom for us to use? I'm calling on the government to bring these people to books. The public must be treated better. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. We suggest, if there is another branch, if that is your choice of bank, if there is another branch of that bank nearby, and they have restroom facilities, that you switch. If there's no other Scotia bank there, and there are other banks which have toilet facilities, washroom facilities, I would humbly suggest that you make a switch. In other words, you are shopping around for your ideal bank, your ideal financial institution. And one of the prerequisites, it seems, for you is that there should be a restroom, otherwise known as a washroom, otherwise known as a toilet, for customers. And if you can find a bank where you don't have to pay fees, and we see Sagicor advertising heavily that you don't have to pay fees. So you don't have to pay bank fees at Sagicor. You don't have to pay bank fees at Scotia, at VMBS, or VM for short, following rebranding. You don't have to pay fees there. And I think credit unions would fall into that category as well, of not being rapacious when it comes to fees. And so I would say shop around Clarkey Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary, and find a financial institution, find a wholesale, find a supermarket, whatever your needs. Just find a place that suits your needs and support that business. That's what we're saying. And hopefully that will embarrass the others to make adjustments to their operations. Thank you very much for your message. Please keep us posted on whether you're able to find a bank that suits your needs. Clarkey Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. There's more after this week's edition of Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
The Auto World.
It's the only program on Jamaican radio dedicated to the world of automobile. It's the Auto World with Shelley and McLagan. Get news and reviews relating to vehicles and automotive technology. Learn the ins and outs of mechanical operation. Find out about the various stakeholders in the local and international automotive sectors. From auto finance to road safety to motorcycles, the Auto World is your one-stop shop for everything auto. That's the Auto World with Shelley and McLagan. Weekdays at 5:15 p.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
It continues to be all smiles at Wellington Dental. We offer dental care for the entire family, including cleaning, filling, whitening, and other dental services. There's wheelchair access and an exciting play area for the children. Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town. Telephone 876-984-5482 or 876-749-3515.
Who's on? Okay.
It's a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and that means time for Land Solutions. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with, anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land. You've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112. In fact, 4113-5 for this feature. 876-922-4113-5. The numbers for Land Solutions today: 876-922-4113, 4114, and 4115. The text line for Land Solutions today is the same as the WhatsApp number: 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. The website is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. A lawyer is usually on duty from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on a Thursday. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on a Thursday. You can see the attorney at law on duty at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. They encourage you, though, to call ahead instead of just turning up. If you wish to get in touch with the law firm Brown, Findley and Company, the numbers are 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3515. 876-908-3515. 8. Call those numbers, or if you prefer to call the Ocho Rios office directly, that number is 876-974-6083. 876-974-6083. In a moment, let's say good afternoon and welcome to the host of today's edition of Land Solutions, attorney at law, Calicia Findley.
Thank you, Dervan. Good afternoon to you and the team, and good afternoon, listeners. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Land Solutions. As Dervan just said, I'll be your host for today, Calicia Findley, and I will dive right into our messages. I have an interesting message from our Facebook page. If a seller tells you land is 1 acre, but after the sale, you realize it's 3/4 of an acre, can you cancel and get back your money? Or can you sue the seller? So you enter an agreement to buy land. The seller says it is 1 acre. After the sale, you realize it is not quite an acre. It's 3/4 of an acre. And this person now wants to know whether they can cancel and get back their money or whether they can sue the seller. We have a rule, a principle that says buyer beware, caveat emptor. So the short answer I would think is, or I would say, is no. You can't sue the seller because as the buyer, you are to do your own checks, you are to do your due diligence to ensure what you are purchasing, what you think you're purchasing is actually what you are getting. The seller could have lied, or it could have been an honest mistake. Maybe the seller himself, when he bought it, thought it was an acre all this time. Maybe he thought it was an acre, or maybe he misrepresented. I'm not certain. But notwithstanding what the seller's intentions were, it is incumbent on buyers. It is buyers' responsibility to do their checks to ensure what they're getting is what they actually want. So in this case, you're buying property. Before you sign the sale agreement, before you pay a deposit, it is the buyer's responsibility to get a surveyor's identification report. And depending on the type of property, if it's registered property, if it has a registered title, you would get a surveyor's identification report. If it is unregistered property, you should get a survey diagram. And in that case, usually I would prefer that the seller provides that. But either way, it is the buyer's responsibility to do their checks, have the surveyor come in so they know exactly what the size of the property they're buying and whether there are any breaches or encroachments. So in this case, the buyer would not be able to sue wouldn't be able to sue the seller. If they go ahead and sue the seller, I don't see them being successful in a lawsuit against the seller because it's the buyer's responsibility. So please, literally, buyer beware. Do your checks. And let me just say too, often, and too many times, clients will come in to us and say, I'm buying a piece of land from John Brown, buying it for $1 million. I've already paid $500,000. All right, let me see what documents you have. Let me see a copy of the title. Is John Brown the owner? Well, not quite. He's not the owner, but his great-great-great-grandfather owned it and now it has passed down to him. All right, let me see what evidence you have. Absolutely nothing. Remember, listeners, buying land isn't like going into the shop or the supermarket and picking up something off the shelf. It is complicated. It is very nuanced. Please don't enter any sort of agreement or any sort of arrangement to buy land unless you have an attorney. Over to our WhatsApp line. How long does it take to fix a breach on a title? Or a breach on titles, usually you have what we call restrictive covenants or encumbrances. And these are conditions that affect the title. So a common one is a boundary restrictive covenant that will say building should be 10 feet from the boundary. If the building is 5 feet from the boundary instead of 10 feet from the boundary, then that is what we refer to as a breach. To make an application to correct the breach, it's done through the Supreme Court. It's called an application to modify covenant. From start to finish, these applications take about a year to 18 months. But what's happening now is that before the court will even entertain the application, you have to show that you have approved building plan. So in a case where, let's say, a wall, instead of being 10 feet from the boundaries, 5 feet from the boundaries, you have to show, meaning we have to attach it to our court application, that you received approved building plans from your parish council. If at the time you built the wall, you did not make an application to the parish council, we have to apply for what we call an as-built plan, meaning it's a retroactive application. So if you do not have your approved building plan, you're not going to get anywhere with the court application. Even if they allow us to file the application, we get a hearing date, we go before the judge and we say, all right, we don't have this application, we don't have the approved building plan. They're going to adjourn the matter, meaning they're going to put them at the court, going to put the matter on hold until you come up with your approved building plan. So please, I know as Jamaicans, we love to make changes to our property. We love to do additions, we love to do improvements, and the vast majority of us do not obtain building approvals. Please obtain your approvals. If you have already built and you haven't obtained your approval, it can still be done. You can get in touch with an architect, a draftsman, for them to come in and prepare the plan and then submit it to the parish council for the parish council to review it and to provide the approvals. Continuing with our messages, is it better to buy a house or is it better to buy, I'm sorry, this message has come in parts. Is it better to buy a house or is it better to buy land and build? It all depends on your circumstances, you know. It's not a one size fits all. Some people, obviously land is going to be cheaper than buying property that already has a house on it. So for some people, it may be easier to buy a piece of land for $5 million as opposed to buying a house for $10 or $15 million and then taking their time to save. Some people may also prefer the building process. You have many people who say it's much cheaper to build as opposed to buying a house directly from, let's say, a seller or a developer. And when you build, you tailor it to your needs. You get exactly what you want. Of course, on the other hand, we know how our Jamaican workmen and contractors are. Some people cannot be bothered with the hassle of having to deal with contractors. We know that they can be unreliable sometimes. So if someone can afford it, they would prefer to just buy a ready-built house as opposed to building. So if you're trying to decide whether you should buy land or buy a house, think about your circumstances. What is better for you? What's better for your pocket? Is it easier for you to just buy the house already made? Do you have the money? If not, perhaps you can just buy land. Sit and think about it. Of course, go in and discuss it with an attorney to see what options are available. And as many of you may know, if you already own property, you can still get a loan, depending on your circumstances, what we call a build on own land or a construction loan. You can get a loan from your mortgage institution to build.
We have a caller for you, Calicia.
Thanks, Dervan. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how may I help?
Hello?
Hello, yes, I'm hearing you. You're live on air. Please go ahead. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, are you hearing me?
Okay, somebody is that me.
Hello? Let's see if we can try to start that caller out. To call in live on air, the numbers are 876-922-411325 or text and WhatsApp line 876-881-5254. Email gloria@landsolutions.ja.com. You may also send us a message on Facebook. That's facebook.com/landsolutions. We'll try and see if we can get back to this caller after the break. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Attention seniors, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security is now accepting applications for the social pension program. If you are 75 years or older and do not have a pension or steady income, you should apply. Take your government ID, birth certificate, NIS and TRN cards, and your bank account details. Remember, if you receive PATH or poor relief, your benefit will be transferred to the new program. For more information, call 876-922-8007. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Morning with the Minister returns to Farm Talk this Friday, January 28th. Farmers, fisherfolk, backyard gardeners, industry players. Join us as the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr.
Thanks a lot for staying with us on Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, any question that you have about land, property, land surveys, leaving property in a will, etc., 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 you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5, 876-922-4113-5. The text line for Land Solutions today, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-881-5254, 876-881-5254. You can visit the website, landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. They encourage you to call ahead instead of just turning up. There's a lawyer on duty at the Ocho Rios office every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Thursday. You can call the Ocho Rios office 876-974-6083, 876-974-6083. And the numbers for the law firm Brown, Findley and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. Once again, here's attorney at law Calicia Findley, and let's try with that caller again, Calicia.
Thanks, Dervan. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, go ahead. You're live on air. What's your question?
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
The caller, yes, the caller is not hearing clearly.
Let me know if he comes back on.
All right,
Let me go over to the.
Hold on, before you go, let's try again. Let's try another line.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Nothing. If they come back, just let me know, Dervan.
Sure, no problem.
Let me go over to line. Can a property be sold if the person who claims to be the owner doesn't have a title for it? All right. So when there is no registered title for a property, it means the property is unregistered. Yes, property can be bought and sold if it's not registered. But it is a little more difficult because we have to prove that the person selling the property is in fact the owner. So when you have a registered title, it is a document issued by the government. It is guaranteed by the National Land Agency. So there it is taken for granted that it is secure. So once there's a registered title, the process is relatively simple in terms of proving ownership and tracing the ownership. Whatever is on the title speaks for itself, and that is what we use. When there is no title, we have to do a whole host of searches, interviews. We have to check whatever documentation that is presented to us. So yes, property can be sold when it's unregistered. The challenge, however, that we come upon, or what we find, is that clients come to us when things go bad. They bought the property, and I think I alluded to it earlier. They buy the property, and then after the fact, they want us to remedy it when they have no proof of ownership. The person they bought it from, that person also has no proof of ownership. There's not even a survey diagram, no property tax receipt, nothing. So that is the challenge. So yes, property can be sold when it's unregistered, but you have to ensure that the documentation is in order. And when I refer to documentation for unregistered property, I'm usually referring to a survey diagram, the property tax roll, property tax receipt, and any other proof of ownership. Maybe a sale agreement, receipt, anything that can show a connection or ownership on the property. Continuing with our messages. If you have been on property, let me go again. If you've been living on property, paying lease for over 50 years, can the owner just tell you to vacate because they want to sell to someone who is interested in the property if we're not willing to buy? All right. Whether you're on property, whether you're leasing property and you're on it for 1 day, 10 years, 15 years, there's a certain procedure that needs to be followed. So the owner can't just say you need to leave the property tomorrow. They have to give you a proper notice, a notice to quit. They have to wait till that notice expires before they can take steps to have you removed. And whatever notice they give you is going to be subject to what's in your lease agreement. And I'm taking for granted that you would have a written lease agreement. If you have a lease agreement, and usually we see this in longer leases, in some of these lease agreements, they may have what we call the right of first refusal or the option to purchase. This is where they give you, the tenant or the lessee, the first option to purchase the property. And then if you don't take up that option, then they can sell to someone. So in your case, if it is that you have the option to purchase, but you're not taking it up, yes, they can go ahead and give you a notice to quit, and they can sell it to someone else. But as I alluded to, they must give you a notice to quit. They can't just say you have to get up and leave.
Another call for you. Yes.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello?
Yes, hello. Are you hearing me?
I'm listening.
Are you hearing me? Hello?
I want to speak to Leonard, really.
Oh, yes, you're speaking with the lawyer. Go right ahead. You're live on air. How may I
help? I have a piece of land that I live on. It's for the three of us, my sister and my brother, and so, but I need to pay up the back tax, and we need to survey, so I wonder if I can sell a piece of the land to do so.
In fact, funny enough, I just saw a message coming in about selling a piece of land. No, you can't just sell land like that. So in order to sell a piece of land, you have to get it officially subdivided, meaning officially cut up. But let me ask you, how long ago did they die?
My father died in England in December time, I worked in England too, and I pay the taxes as what I can pay. But I'm still working the land, but I rent somebody piece of the land to go and to the client. But is it want the title to look about?
Do you see? Let us to get 3 titles out of the land. You need to get the first step you need to do is to get the land surveyed in 3 different parcels, and then you apply for the 3 different titles. You and I, we can have a discussion off air to see how best for you to go about it. Because what I'm hearing from you is that you might need some help in applying for the title in terms of finances. But you can't just go ahead and just sell a piece of it right now. That is the wrong way. Because if you do that, it is not going to be officially cut off. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So tell me something. I would have to find different money to that. You couldn't sell piece of the land and use the same money to look up.
No. That is illegal. That is what will get you in problems. I'm going to ask you to hold and have the producer take your number, and I'm going to call you after and discuss it further with you. All right? Hold for me, please.
Okay.
Live on air, 876-922-411-325. Text and WhatsApp line today, 876-881-5254. Email gloria@landsolutionsja.com. Someone is asking, must one have exclusiveness to claim adverse possession? I think what this person is getting at is whether the person, if you're trying to claim adverse possession, whether you need to show that you have exclusive possession of the property. And yes, you do. You need to show that you have been the person occupying the property, taking care of it, bushing it for at least 12 years if it's privately owned property. So if you live there with your family, fine. But let us say you live in one house on the property and you have someone else living in another house on the property. You can't go ahead and apply for title for both houses because you would not have had exclusive possession of the other person's house. So you can go ahead and apply for title for just the piece that you're on. But certainly, exclusive possession is one of the hallmarks of an application for adverse possession. And before I get too technical, remember, adverse possession is also referred to in layman's term as a squatter's rights application. Usually that's the type of application squatters make to apply for a title once they can show that they have been on property for at least 12 years. It does not only apply to squatters. I'm referring to it as that because that's what many people know it as. So you could have bought the property from someone, it could have been willed to you, you've been there for 20, 30 years, it's the same type of application that you would make. You have to show that you have been on it undisturbed for at least 12 years. If it's government land, it has to be for over 20 years. Let me see if I can get in another message just before the break. What is the difference between a regular TRN and an estate TRN? This is a good question. So TRN, for those of us who may not know, let's say if you're listening in from overseas, is a taxpayer registration number. Each taxpayer in Jamaica is required to have one. Not only taxpayers, but anybody who's going to be doing any business with the revenue department, any government agency, I should say, in Jamaica. So if you live overseas, you've never set foot in Jamaica, but you plan to do business in Jamaica, let's say you're buying a property or you're registering a company, you need to have a TRN, a taxpayer registration number. If you are in the United States and you have a social security number, I can't stress this enough, that is not enough. That is something completely different. And it's so funny, but so many times clients or prospective clients get upset with us. Why do they need to apply for a TRN when they already have a social security number? Social security number is for another jurisdiction. A TRN is for Jamaica. I'm certain that when you are in the States and an attorney there, anybody else is telling you need a social security number, you don't argue with them and tell them you have a TRN from Jamaica. You take it for granted. So again, social security for the United States, TRN for Jamaica. The estate TRN, though, on the other hand, is another TRN that is required after someone has died. So once someone has died and we're making an application to pay their estate, because at the tax administration in Jamaica, the executors need to apply for an estate TRN. It doesn't matter whether that person had a TRN while they were alive. the estate TRN is still required. It is a completely different number. Some people are very upset about it. I can understand, why do you need an estate TRN if the person had a TRN when they were alive? Why do you need an estate TRN when the person is deceased? You're trying to pay money to the government. Why do you still need it? It is a requirement, and I'll get back to that shortly. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
Accurate and personalized service is what you get at Rose Pharmacy. They have the best medicine and the best rates. At Rose Pharmacy, they're more than a business. They're family. Conveniently located at Shop 8 Cressa Plaza, 1 Wharf Road, Morant Bay. Call 876-516-8183 or 876-782-9488. No one offers service better than us.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number. In fact, those call-in lines should be from 876-922-4113 to 5. 876-922-4113 to 5. The WhatsApp number, which means you can send your text messages as well, text messages, WhatsApp messages. That number is 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. The website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at the JN Building, upstairs, the JN Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. In fact, there's a lawyer on duty every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Ocho Rios office. But they encourage you to call ahead instead of just turning up so they can properly prepare for you and you can properly prepare for them. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. Once again, here's attorney at law Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. Continuing with that message that was sent in just before the break, what is the difference between a regular TRN and an estate TRN? So most of us are familiar with the regular TRN. Again, the estate TRN is another TRN required by the government after someone has died when we are settling that person's estate. So we've applied for probate. Probate has been received. The next step now is to make an application to Tax Administration Jamaica to pay the estate duties of that deceased person's estate. And the requirement in making that application to pay the estate duties is for us to apply, or I should say specifically for the executors of that estate to apply for the estate TRN. And again, it matters not if the person had a TRN while they were alive. It's now a completely new number. So let us say the person is John Brown. While alive, their TRN would have been in the name of John Brown. After death, it would now be, the estate TRN would be in the name of estate John Brown. It is a requirement. There is no getting around it. Over to our text line. I sold my cousin 3 parcels of land many years ago. He died suddenly without a will. I recently discovered that all the properties are still in my name. What should I do? If you have proof of the sale, and I can understand why this is a concern, because if it's still in your name, you're probably still getting the property tax assessments and the notices are being sent to you. You can go to the tax office with the evidence of the sale to have it be transferred, I should say the tax roll should be updated in your cousin's name. You can speak to your cousin's next of kin with a view to them administering your cousin's estate, so the tax roll can be updated in the name of the administrator. I recall someone coming in some years ago with a similar issue, and they were under the impression that because the property tax roll, the valuation roll had not been amended, that they were still the owner, so they could still do whatever they wanted with the land. And in fact, this person wanted to sell the land again. Of course, you cannot. Even though the tax roll may still be in your name, fact is the land would have been sold. It now belongs to that person or his estate. So again, you can go into the tax office to have the tax roll amended, and you can speak to their next of kin to have their estate administered, so the tax roll can be updated to reflect the name of the estate. Continuing with our text messages, what happens when there are no living witnesses to a will? This is a common scenario, especially for wills that were done a long time ago, where most people named in the will, whether as executors or beneficiaries, would have died. Where there are no living witnesses to a will, the will is still valid. It doesn't change the validity of the will. So, when you're making a will, the testator signs in the presence of two persons. They all sign together. Those are the witnesses. Once that is done, the will is valid. The fact that one witness, would have died, or both witnesses died, does not invalidate the will. Same for the executors. If the executors die, the will is still valid. So if it's a case where the executors have died, one of the beneficiaries can step in and make the application. If it's a case where the witnesses have died and the court has questions about the execution of the will, then the person making the application, let's say the executors, if there are no witnesses available, they can speak to the validity of the will. If it's sometimes what happens, you have two witnesses, but there may have been other persons in the room at the time the will was being signed. The court will accept a document from that person. If the executor or beneficiary can speak to the handwriting of the testator and say, yes, we know that the witnesses are deceased, so obviously they can't submit any documentation, but we knew the testator, knew him for all his life, and this is in fact his handwriting and his signature, then the court will accept that. But just to say, out of an abundance of caution, what we advise persons to do is, if there's any material change on your will, so let us say you willed your house to someone, but sometime afterwards you decided to sell it to someone, or let's say one of the beneficiaries dies, or one of the executors dies, go ahead and change the will. Do a new will, add someone else, because it prevents confusion, and it gives you certainty. So if you have your will, all the persons named as the executors have died, both witnesses, I should say, have died, go ahead and update your will. It can't hurt to have that done. Over to our Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/land solutions. If I have a mortgage, can I add someone to my title? Yes, you can. You can add someone to your title if you have a mortgage, and that, of course, will be with the consent or the approval of the mortgage company. Now, remember, once you add someone to your title, they become a co-owner. So you can't just decide that you want to sell the property on your own. That person will have to agree also. And that person will also equally be responsible for paying the mortgage. So even if you add someone to your title, but you are still the only person making the mortgage payment, if the mortgage company can't find you to make the payment, let's say you fall into arrears, they can come after that person. So remember, once you go on title with someone, whether there is a mortgage or not, you become responsibility for any and all obligations, property taxes. If someone wants to sue you as the landowner, they can sue anybody on the title. It's usually a little different, however, if you want to remove someone from your title and you have a mortgage. In most cases, the mortgage company won't allow you to take someone off a title unless that person's share of the mortgage has been paid. Sometimes there are exceptions, but generally, you can't come off a title if there's a mortgage unless your share has been paid up. But usually also the mortgage company doesn't give any issues if you want to go ahead and add someone to the title. Let me just go back over to our text line. I am an executor. The deceased person left some money in his will for someone, but I can't locate the person. What do I do? This happens more often than we think, because sometimes you see what happens is that the executors may not know all the beneficiaries. So they literally never heard of this person. The first time they're hearing about this person is when they have seen the will. And the testator may just say, I leave $1 million for John Brown, and the executor has no idea who John Brown is. What you can do is put an ad, what we call a whereabouts ad, in the local newspapers. But most importantly, if you have that money for them, you need to put it in an interest-bearing account. Don't touch the money. Don't say you asked around for this person, and then you can't find them. You waited a month, 2 months, so you decide to give the money to the beneficiaries or to spend it on other things. No, that will run you into problems. You can be sued. Remember, as an executor, you're in a position of trust. So lock up that money, put it away, and hopefully that person will resurface. But you can't just sit there and not do anything. You have to show that you have tried to locate this person. So ask around, ask family members of the deceased, friends, ask the other beneficiaries if they have any idea who this person is. Put an ad in the paper and invest the money. Don't just sit there and not do anything. Because you don't want it to be a situation where this person eventually shows up, and I tell you, 9 out of 10 times you're looking and searching, and it happens to us as attorneys. We're trying to find beneficiaries, we just can't find them, and then out of the blue they appear. Once persons find out that there's money left for them, somehow they always end up showing up. So please be careful, invest that money. What is the next step after you put in an offer on a house? So when you're buying property, the first step usually, and when you're going to a real estate agent, you sign the offer to purchase as the prospective purchaser, and then the seller signs to accept your offer. After the offer is accepted, the vendor's lawyer will prepare the sale agreement for you to sign, and they send it over to your attorney for your attorney to review. So the next step after signing an offer to purchase is for the sale agreement to be prepared and then to have it be reviewed by the purchaser's attorney. During that time, the purchaser is advised to get their reports, meaning their surveyor's identification report and their valuation report. They should also work on getting their deposits. Deposits are usually between 5 and 10%. They can be more. It all depends on what is agreed between yourself and the purchaser, but generally it's never less than 5%. In particular, some mortgage institutions will not accept an application for a mortgage from you if you have not paid at least a 5% deposit. That is their requirement. So if you just have 2 or 3%, they're not going to accept that. With the offer to purchase too, if you are looking for a property to buy, ensure you have your eligibility letter. Sometimes it's referred to as a pre-qualification letter or pre-approval letter. And I'll get back into that shortly. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
It's the final segment of Land Solutions for today. Getting those questions now, whatever you're not clear on and anxious to get some clarification. Here are the numbers to call. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land and related matters, land surveying, willing property, etc. Here are the numbers to call. 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. And you're encouraged to call those numbers instead of just turning up at the offices of Brown, Findlay and Company. They're headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. Again, they encourage you to call ahead instead of turning up. Mind you, on a Thursday, a lawyer is on duty at the Ocho Rios office, and you're encouraged, again, to call ahead instead of turning up. Call so you can prepare yourselves properly, and the team at the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company can also prepare themselves to see to your legal needs in relation to land matters. For the final time this afternoon, here once again is attorney at law, Calicia Findlay, and we have a couple of callers holding on the line. Calicia.
Thanks, Dervan. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, how may I help?
Yeah, I sold a three parcel of land after 1 acre. So I sold it to 3 persons. Well, one of them he in England, and the other 2 persons, their survey come through. So I want this guy to sign the paper for them to get their portion cut off. So I cannot get in touch with that guy. So I am the owner of the land. What can I do?
The other 2 have got their surveys already, right?
Yeah.
You don't need anything from him for the other 2 to go ahead and get their titles. They can, since they have their surveys, they can go ahead and apply for their title. You don't need anything from him.
The thing then get them get the from the parish council. This parish council say he wants his name. The guy, his name, I put his name on the title to you.
Oh, you put his name on the diagram?
No, on the title.
Alright. I think the you're referring to the diagram, have you got the registered titles for the others already?
No, I got the registered title from my for the whole land.
Yes, I understand that, but I'm asking you for the diagrams, whose names are on the diagrams? Whose names on the survey?
Howard and
don't call their names. No. The other 3 people's names are on the survey?
2 of the 3.
All right, fine. And what I'm saying to you is, those 2 people, they're getting 2 separate titles, right?
Yeah.
If they're getting 2 separate titles, the parish council should have no business with that third one, unless you included his name on the application, and I don't see why you would have done that.
No, he said he don't want me to go behind his back and do no business.
But what the other 2 are doing in terms of getting a title has nothing to do with him. And let me tell you, before you should have get it subdivided, you should have get it cut up before you went ahead and sold it to anybody else. But be that as it may, those 2 persons now, they are 2 separate individuals. Their business has nothing to do with his. So they don't need anything from him. I don't know what you would have submitted to the council, but because they are completely separate from him, they don't need anything from him. The only way the parish should need anything from him or his consent is if his name is going on their titles. And based on what you are telling me, that is not the case.
No, I put on his name on the title because I saying don't want me to go back on him and sell the land.
Diagram about you getting it mixed up. I need to talk to you some more off air. Hold on, I'm going to have the producer take your number and I'm going to call you back, all right?
Okay.
All right, thanks for calling. We have another on? Hi, Dervan, do we have another call? Let me continue with our messages. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, how may I help you?
Yeah, not hearing you so well still.
I'm sorry, but go ahead, you're live on air. I'm hearing you.
You hearing me good?
Yes, man, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, all right. Here my problem. My wife and I'm married to a young lady. My wife and her father give her a piece of house for and a land. And the time, paper and thing, she was paying the tax and thing. So she built a house on it, but she died. So I want to know what kind of approach can I take.
How long were both of you living there?
Pardon me?
How long were the both of you living there together?
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
How long ago did she die?
She died last week before last.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear. Is he trying to take you off the land?
Well, like them would have want to do that because she did severe, but she never gets no severe the house, but she never gets no document for it yet.
Okay.
But them come and say them severe the whole life.
There is a registered title for the land already?
No, no title not there for the land. But my wife is to pay the tax.
All right. I need to talk to you off air because you're going to need to take some urgent steps. Huh?
Could I sell them there?
That is a possibility. Yes, you could. Do you want to do that though?
Not hearing you.
Hold on. I think we're having a little difficulty with the line. Hold on, and I'm going to have the producer take your number. All right, don't hang up. Hello, afternoon. Do we have any more calls?
Not right now, Calicia.
Thanks, Dervan. Let me just continue. Just before the break, someone asked, what is the next step after you put in an offer to purchase? And I had gone on to, I had said, next step would be to have the sale agreement prepared and then sign. I went on to say that when you are signing an offer to purchase, you submit a pre-approval letter, then a follow-up message came in. This person is now asking, what's the purpose of a pre-qualification letter? All right, so a pre-qualification letter is also referred to as a pre-approval letter or an eligibility letter. This is a letter you get from your mortgage institution saying that you will qualify for a particular sum if you apply for a mortgage, and this will be your monthly payment. A pre-qualification letter is not a mortgage approval. The purpose of a pre-qualification letter is to show real estate agents and to show sellers of property that you are able to do this transaction once you enter a sale agreement. Many people think that a pre-approval or a pre-qualification means that you're automatically qualified for a mortgage. No. You can only become qualified for a mortgage after you sign the sale agreement, you pay your deposit, the vendor signs, and then it is submitted to the mortgage company. So the pre-approval letter, it comes before. It just basically says if John Brown applies for a mortgage, we will give him $10 million and he will pay $100,000 every month as his monthly payment. The mortgage approval, the letter of undertaking, and the commitment letters, those are what actually approve your mortgage, and they say yes. What it essentially says is that John Brown has applied for a mortgage and we have approved him for a mortgage. So please don't make that mistake of thinking that your pre-approval letter is the same as your mortgage approval. What is a codicil? A codicil is an addition to a will. It's a second document. So John Brown has a will, it's valid. He has in his will, let's say, for argument's sake, he leaves his house to Mary Smith. The codicil now is an addition to the will where he refers to the will. Let's say he forgot to mention his car and now he says, I leave my car to my brother. So a codicil is an addition to a will. They're read together. What happens nowadays is that codicils are rarely used. Because if you're going to go through the same formalities of doing an addition to the will, we just do an entirely new will. So if you want to make a change to your will, you want to take out someone, you want to add something or someone else, we just do a whole new will. Codicils were used a long time ago, back in the day. They're still valid, don't get me wrong. You can do a codicil if you want to. But nowadays, we just do a whole new will. Because sometimes it can be confusing. Because especially when you don't do it with the help of an attorney, you may have made your will on your own and then you go and do a codicil. But what I've seen happening sometimes is that your executors and your beneficiaries have no idea about the codicil. That's the addition to the will. They know about the will, they see the will, they go ahead and get that probated. And then many times after, that is when they discover that there's the codicil. So if you are thinking about doing an addition to your will, just do a whole new will. It makes life much easier and less complicated. Someone wants, yes, I saw this message come in earlier. Let me just see if I can touch on it. How do I sell a piece of my land? This is what gets people in problems. People think that they can just go ahead and say, all right, I have a 5-acre property. I'm selling you a 1/4 acre. That's going to be from that tree to that light post. Go ahead and take it. No. To sell a piece of your land, you must first get it subdivided. Subdivision is the official process of cutting up land, of getting off a piece of that land, and only then can you sell it. So once you have, let's say you have your 5-acre parcel of land, you have your title for it, that is what we call the parent title. Some people, layman's terms, they refer to it as the mother title. But you get the gist, that's the parent title. Any title that's coming out of that, meaning you're cutting it up and getting smaller lots, we refer to those as the splinter titles. So you have to get your splinter titles before you can sell a piece of land. If you sell a piece of your land, or if you attempt to sell a piece of your land without getting subdivision, that person is essentially just buying the same thing. Your name is still going to be on the title because nothing would have changed. So to get it officially subdivided, the surveyor comes in, puts prepares the plans for the different lots, submits the application to the parish council. Once the parish council grants the approval, then we, the attorneys, make the application to the titles office for the splinter titles. So please, before you attempt to sell any piece of your land, get legal advice. And for purchasers, don't just think you can go in and buy a piece of land just like that. Get an attorney. Find out if they have subdivision. And as always, for tuning in to Land Solutions, keep your questions coming. I've been your host for today, Kalicia Finley, and of course, thanks as always to Dervan and the team. Take care.
Importers, provide proper invoices for customs when presenting goods for examination. This could prevent delays during clearance. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30. It continues to be all smiles at Wellington Dental. We offer dental care for the entire family, including cleaning, whitening, and other dental services. There's wheelchair access and an exciting play area for the children. Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town. Telephone 876-984-5482 or 876-749-3515.
The Auto World.
It's the only program on Jamaican radio dedicated to the world of automobile. It's the Auto World with Shelley and McLagan. Get news and reviews relating to vehicles and automotive technology. Learn the ins and outs of mechanical operation. Find out about the various stakeholders in the local and international automotive sectors. From auto finance to road safety to motorcycles, the Auto World is your one-stop shop for everything auto. That's the Auto World with Shelley and McLagan. Weekdays at 5:15 p.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on this special road safety edition of Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, on this, the final day in the month of January 2021. And those numbers not looking so good as far as road fatalities are concerned. What were we hearing a couple of days ago? 29 fatalities or 28 fatalities in 29 days. And I think that number would have changed. In fact, to quickly look at the current numbers as far as road fatalities are concerned. Let's see if we can bring that up. But clearly, the numbers are not looking good. Last year, we had a record number of fatalities, more than 400 plus. And here we are in 2022, seemingly starting the new year, exactly how we ended the old one. And that cannot be good for us at all. And so we're going to explore these issues on both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And just to give you a quick look at the numbers. Last year, 2021, we had 484 people killed on our roads in Jamaica. 484. That's staggering. That is quite staggering. And we want to help to stem those numbers. So far, 35 people have been killed in 29 fatal crashes. So this is day number 31 of the first month of 2022. And in 31 days, and this day is not done yet, in 31 days, we've lost 35 people on our roads. 35 people have been killed on our roads in 29 fatal crashes. Where do we look for solutions? What lessons have we learned up to now? Let's find out from the director of the Island Traffic Authority, Mr. Canute Hare. Happy New Year, Mr. Hare. How are you?
Merry New Year to you and Merry New Year to your listeners. I'm very well, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. We don't have a lot of time, so let's get straight to it. From where you sit as director of the Island Traffic Authority, uh, to what extent have you been able to impact the traffic environment positively as far as bringing down the numbers is concerned?
Well, I would say that we have a lot more work to do. I believe that one of the critical roles that we intend to play in this quarter is for the intensification of our road spot check operations, especially in the areas where we've seen a lot of road deaths and road fatalities transpiring, especially along the major corridors. And of course, playing a critical role as it relates to the matter of driver's license and the matter of fitness of the motor vehicles. One thing that we realized that a lot of persons are requesting substitute driver's license when they have a plethora of outstanding traffic tickets. And we have made it our duty to ensure that before anyone can get a substitute driver's license, people would request a substitute driver's license for varying reasons. So they will request it because they have genuinely lost their driver's license or non-genuinely have lost their driver's license, or they, because of the fact that they know that if they don't pay the traffic ticket, if they don't pay traffic, no point to go on line, so they come and report that it is lost. But what they don't realize is that we would check the traffic ticketing system database to what extent there are warrants out for their arrest and whether there are they have outstanding traffic tickets. And I must say to you that for the month of November, I think we would have processed about 155 applications for substitute driver's license. And of those 155, we have 149 persons with outstanding tickets, and these outstanding tickets are over 1,500. Do you think we should support these persons not paying their outstanding traffic tickets and receiving driver's license to go out there and rack up another plethora of tickets? I don't think anyone would agree with that. So what I think we'd like to appeal to all motorists to do, and we're going to do a lot of public education on this matter of substitute driver's license. How do you apply for it? And I must say to you that if you have outstanding traffic tickets out there and you have not paid that ticket, as night shall turn today, I can assure you a warrant would have been out for your arrest. Mm-hmm. So you can avoid all of that by going to the police traffic headquarters. There's a special line that they have that can give you the intelligence as it relates to checking on your traffic ticketing status. And I would like to encourage everyone to get that matter sorted out. We are going to intensify our road spot check operations in the night also too, especially to deal with those vehicles with
the lights. Yes. Lights oh my goodness.
That come out. We just fine-tuning the operation with the Jamaica Constabulary Force. But rest assured that come February 2022, you will see us on a monthly basis. We will be out there in the night targeting this operation. So nobody will be able to say that we just come at you like Nicodemus in the night. No, we warn you before, so we're telling you exactly what we will be doing. So you will see us across all 14 parishes working with our critical road safety stakeholders, Jamaica Constabulary Force, to try to bring some level of order to the network.
Sorry, go ahead.
I believe strongly, though, what we have seen out there, we don't like it. We believe that we have supplied a product named driver's license to many persons, and they are misusing the product and not using the product properly. So we believe that we have a duty now to ensure that we continue to educate and inform We are working closely with the road safety. We are using the road safety unit to ensure that road safety materials are at all examination depots. Because we service over 500,000 vehicles per annum. So we have our reach right here. So we intend to leverage that reach further this year and to try to have more activities in the depots promoting road safety to our patrons who come. And of course, working with the JCF to do on-the-road activities, we intend to step up our activities we are going to step up activities in southern St. Elizabeth, targeting those motorcyclists in that area. And of course, we're not leaving out the western parts like Hanover, Westmoreland, and St. James, but we're targeting St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Clarendon in our operation for the month of February to reach out to that category road users. And also, we'll intend to lend all the support to our stakeholders, such as the National Works Agency and the Jamaica Constabulary Force, to ensure that persons who flout the law on the network, they are brought to books. We are fully aware of persons with outstanding traffic tickets out there, and I would like to encourage persons who have these outstanding traffic tickets to get them started out, because if warrants are, because a lot of warrants are out for persons arrest. So if you have these outstanding tickets, you pay them up, get them started out, and get your record squeaky clean. Now, we have seen 35 persons dying already since the start of this year. And of that 35 persons who have died, what we have looked at the data further, we have found out that 50% of these crashes are due, 50% of the crashes are due to excessive speeding, failure of the motorist to keep their traffic lane, and pedestrians using the roadway inappropriately. These are profound cause for concern. And again, just like last year, the motorcyclists have gone ahead again. I must say we have seen some positive progress in the western parts of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. No motorcyclists have died in those parishes. Well, however, we have seen 2 persons who have been killed in St. Elizabeth. We are not celebrating anything because a life lost is very valuable, and we have to be in preventative mode. However, I would like to warn drivers of private motor vehicles out there, ensure that your vehicle is in good condition, ensure that you operate the vehicle safely, because so far since the start of this year, 9 of the persons killed, the most of the persons who have been killed in traffic crashes since the start of the year were drivers and passengers of private motor vehicles. 9 persons who have been killed were drivers of private motor vehicles, and 4 were passengers. And what we have seen that the seatbelt is still not being used. I really don't understand our people. I don't understand them. From as far back as 1999, we have been clamoring to our population and to our motorists and our passengers that buckle up. We still have persons flying out of motor vehicles. And what people need to understand, look, I people take this thing for joke, you know. When your body hit the asphalt, you know, whatever speed that vehicle is going, that's the speed that which the asphalt is going to shell out your body. And when it shell out your body at that speed, let me tell you something. The fire truck is going to come to wash it off. I really don't get it. You have a seatbelt in the motor vehicle. It gives you a fighting chance to survive the crash. And we still have our people making the calculated, deliberate decision to flout the road traffic acts and regulations. Listen to me. Let me tell you something. Obedience is better than sacrifice. There are many of these deaths that could have been avoided had people, motorists and passengers use the time to keep themselves safe. And this is one of our biggest challenges. And I would like to use the opportunity right now and to use your platform to call upon the JCS to extend no mercy to anybody who transports passengers and drivers in motor vehicles without seatbelts. The other thing I would like to be profoundly and fundamentally targeted is that we hit these drivers, you see, with double whammy who decide that they are going to transport Jamaica's children recklessly. We still see children roaming on the back seat. We still see children with their head push out through the window.
Hold a moment there. Just a moment, Canute here. We're actually out of time. I'll allow you to one more sentence when we come back from this break, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
At Royal Medical Hospital, Clinic and Imaging Center. Their highly skilled team is equipped to provide quality health care at an affordable price. General surgery, orthopedics, dermatology, general radiology, maternity care and delivery care, urology, and more. 10 Lewis Street, Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. 876-955-3154. Royal Medical Clinic and Hospital, providing quality health care at an affordable price.
It's a special road safety broadcast here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, as the director of the Island Traffic Authority, Canute Hare, demonstrates once again his passion when it comes on to matters related to road safety. As we said at the outset, Mr. Hare, we're a little short on time, and so we're going to give you an opportunity just to wrap what you were saying, and so we can move to Mrs. Fletcher, who's waiting in the wings.
White line, overtaking. What is that? That's not cute. And then we have the passengers in the motor vehicle who are giving these drivers the forward. Giving the drivers the forward. We have a very arduous task in 2022. I can tell you that. Because what we are seeing on the network, and look here, the indiscipline on the network, you see? We see every vehicle doing it. High-end vehicle doing it, low-end vehicle doing it, medium-end vehicle doing it, and low-end vehicle doing it. We see every vehicle doing it. We see the slackness that the taxi drivers usually do, come at the traffic light, go in the right lane and swing over back in the middle. We see high-end vehicle doing it now. We see low-end vehicle doing it now. We see medium-end vehicle doing it. We can't do those things. And we transport our children. What are we teaching our children? What are we teaching our children?
Good,
right?
Yes.
We are teaching our children bad behaviors, and we need to stop it. We need to cut it out. But let me tell you something. What we will be doing, we are going to intensify our road safety operation, both educationally and enforcically. Right? We are going to enforce the tenets of the Road Traffic Act with our police force, and we are warning people. If you have those fandango lights on your vehicle, those bright white lights on your vehicle, some of you blind me with them too. Look here. When you're caught in the dragnet, no mercy will be extended to you because you were warned. Right? My grandmother said, who cannot hear when feel?
Can you hear?
We'd rather nobody feeling.
Yes.
Remove them now. Don't let us have to remove your plate, because when your plate is removed, the fee of $13,800 will be levied at you. Now that $13,800 can buy ice cream, can buy fudge, can buy icicle and ice cream cake for the children. Children love those things. So we need to show more care for our family and buy some school book too. We need to be obedient to the road rules and regulations.
Well, we thank you for the role that you play in that regard. You continue to play. Can you hear? Thanks a lot. Wish we had more time, but we have to leave it there. All the best. We'll keep in touch with you. All the best. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. It's a special edition, the Road Safety Edition, and we're going to go straight to We just heard there from Canute Hare, Director of the Island Traffic Authority. We're now going straight to the Executive Director of the award-winning National Road Safety Council. And we know the feeling is not that of a winning feeling right now, considering the 484 people who sadly were killed on our roads last year. And so far, 35 people in 31 days, and the 31st day is not done yet. What's the mood of the team at the National Road Safety Council at this time, Mrs. Fletcher? Happy New Year, if we can still say that, and welcome.
Yes, Happy New Year. We still have to say that because we must remain positive.
Yes.
It's sort of a mixed feeling in that to lose 484 persons is not just so, you know. These are people who had names, people who had families, people who had jobs, people who had the potential to contribute to the development of the country, potential as prime minister, a soldier, doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. And with a new world opening up, there are so many areas that we need to develop in as a country based on global trends and so. So it is a very serious thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is that the country, and when I speak about the country, right now I'm speaking about the powers that be.
Yes.
We have to act now. You hear all the things that Mr. here talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That can't happen unless, my God, we have an operationalized road traffic act.
Well, that's why I'm happy to have you on, because that's what I wanted to touch on right now with respect to this Road Safety Act. So we're still trying to put the Road Traffic Act. We're still trying to put the regulations together, or have we?
That is the case. That is the case. That we are not the ministry here belongs to.
Mm-hmm.
The Ministry of Transport has that portfolio responsibility. At the council, we have given a lot of technical support. We have done a lot of the writing, the consultations. But if we continue like this, that's what I'm saying. We can act now.
Yes.
Right? It's a sad state of affairs.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I would see this number. I never saw this number when I entered the council.
Mm-hmm.
And then here it is right in front of us. When we went down in 2012 to 260, we're at 484. That's early 1990s.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the thing about it is that we have more vehicles, so you could say that if you statistically, we have more vehicles and sort of a greater
probability
is greater.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not the reality that we want to exist in. We
Yes.
want to say that we have as a country recognized all the tools, all the initiatives, all the safe systems approach that need to be applied.
Mm-hmm.
We know the all and everything. Okay? One of the tools right now is to have the Road Traffic Act. I cannot go beyond that right now. I can't go beyond that. We need a functioning Road Traffic Act. We would then be able to speak to the matter of not hands-free use of a cell phone. We'll be able to speak to reactivating the point system. There are many people in the traffic environment that should not be there, that needs to be reactivated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to speak to higher fines. Come on now.
Yes.
And I don't want anybody to say that the fines are high and police negotiate, because if you don't commit the offense, it doesn't apply to you.
That's right.
And the fines, what is it, 500 or 700, I can't remember, for not having on a seatbelt? What is the cost of a patty and a drink these days?
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be that. You know, so fines have got to go up, because fines are intended to be a punishment for a particular type of behavior.
Yes.
If you have it in your house and they are running amok, they're not obeying, what's going to happen to that house?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is going to be out of control, and the people are going to eventually get in problem. And who is responsible? The parents.
Yes.
So even though I'm saying I don't negate the fact that road users have to take their safety in their hands, that's where it really should start.
Yes.
But there's also on the legislative side a responsibility.
Yes.
We have started started doing some things that led similar work in other Caribbean countries, and they're now ahead of us.
Oh no.
I have been provided consultative support to a few of these,
Mm-hmm.
right? Trinidad, Ghana, St. Lucia, they asked me to share documents because having a road safety lead agency, we were one of the first ones out. We jumped out with that in 1993. You know,
Yes.
so we have got to. We should stop everything and just. Yes, I know there's other legislation there, you know, but I know that legislatively there's a crunch in terms of the government legislators. But I've always suggested, why not bring in older legislators, retired legislators? They do it for other law, where they sit on a weekend and formulate something to put in front of Parliament. We have got to have the Road Traffic Act operationalized. I can't go beyond that point right now. And that's one of the several safe systems. We talk about the safe system.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what we have in terms of various things to make road safer is right there. Right
Yes.
here.
And if the legislation is not keeping up, then it's like just sitting in limbo.
Sitting in limbo. And I know the ministry has done a lot of work. I know there are tie-ins with other things, but I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. No, it's about time. This is from
past 3 years.
This was for, what was it, 2015?
It was in 2018 December. The Road Traffic Act was passed, but we couldn't operationalize it because the regulations
were not ready.
And then after that, there was this other problem that they were going to take out a whole body of provisions to put in another act, and that act wasn't ready to receive it.
Oh dear.
So they couldn't repeal the old 1930s Act, replace it with the 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but who will do the work to find out how many persons could have been saved had we put some of these things in place? Yes. You know, as a developing country, we don't do this kind of work.
True.
But we're losing people.
Mm-hmm.
Not having an electronic surveillance system where you don't rely on the police,
the human element,
and the human element.
Mm-hmm.
We have been speaking about this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad has jumped out with that.
Yes.
Trinidad, what you call it, the breathalyzer program, they started it after us. They run with that.
Yeah.
If you commit an offense under the breathalyzer program in Trinidad, your name comes out in the newspapers. So there's an element of shame and disgrace, meaning, my God, I was potentially a murderer with my vehicle because I was under the influence. Remember how when it started in Jamaica?
Yes, it was a big thing.
It was a big thing,
mm-hmm.
right? Because people were brought to book. There is none of that.
And you see, this it's the recalcitrance on the part of those of us who are supposed to make this thing happen in terms of the regulations and the legislation and all of that.
Well, I think it's a capacity issue too, because there's a lot of work going on, and I want to be careful about it. It's a capacity issue, but I'm just saying that the loss to the society, right? Our people are at one of the top of the list when it comes to the natural resource of this country. Is our people, right? We see that internationally, our cuisine, our music. You know, I mean, we are doing bobsled thing now. You know, so what I'm saying is protect our people.
Yes.
So find some mechanism.
And we also, there is the element. Well, there shouldn't be a box in the first place. But anyway, but here's the thing. Our people must also be protected. We as a people must also be protected from ourselves.
Well,
which
is the principle of the same system approach, which says that people will make errors, and that an error shouldn't result in your death. So have the proper road markings. I've driven along Boulevard Road there at night, and I'm driving from memory.
Mhm.
The road markings are not very clear. If you're not familiar with Jamaica and all the potholes that you can name,
Yes.
it's hard to drive in Jamaica,
Mhm.
right? So we need to make Jamaica drivable for ourselves and for the tourists that will come, because sometimes there are incidents too, and you get calls from people who are not coming to Jamaica. This is a crazy place in which to drive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So we have to.
Any idea? I mean, what's the last thing you heard in terms of the projected timeline? I know we've been having shifting timelines over time.
Yes, I think because the ministry is not solely in their purview in terms of working. When they submit it to the CTC and wherever the agency, they have to. They're reluctant. The minister is definitely reluctant, and I can't even say I blame him.
Sorry, one moment, please. We'll allow you to wrap after the break.
Okay.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now's a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story. It's the Road Safety Edition on this, the final, 31st and final day of 2022, after a horrific 2021 in terms of fatalities, 484, a record. And here we are in 2022, 35 lives lost in 31 days, and the 31st day isn't finished yet. Not a good sign as well. And we want to thank all the stakeholders for being a part of this inaugural road safety focused broadcast for 2022. Obviously, the likes of Mrs. Paula Fletcher, Executive Director, who she's dedicated and continue to dedicate her life, her energy to trying to help us to manage safety on our roads. And it can be so disheartening, but clearly you and your team are not giving up, Mrs. Fletcher, are you?
We're waiting on the road traffic act. I mean, you can't go beyond that right now.
Yes.
We need to have the road traffic act because it impacts the work of several stakeholder agencies and several aspects of how we use the road. We need to start the work on that. And let me tell you, it means once it's a go and the regulations are there, there is still going to be work done.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Systems and procedures to get things in place. So, when are we going to get there? I think it should be considered an emergency situation because it impacts the hospital system at a time when we have a plague on our land.
That's right.
The COVID, and we need to try and ensure that we have the resources to be able to deal with things like that, as well as elective surgeries. So it behoves us to really try and cap this monster, which is maybe a little easier to deal with right now than COVID.
Yes.
Because I can't imagine what's happening in the hospitals. Look at how many, over one, almost one a day.
Yes.
Just more than one a day. So I think we should declare a state of emergency on getting this act out.
Yes, and one gets a sense that we perhaps, and again, we understand resource constraints and capacity limitations, but one gets a sense that we perhaps have not taken a more integrated approach. In other words, all the different arms that need to coalesce, that need to collaborate, that need to be in place. It's like we've finished. We're past the legislation. Okay, what now? Okay, we now need to operationalize in terms of getting the regulations. And then after that, we'll have to deal with certain things in the traffic environment if we are to complete the circle, so to speak, as opposed to all of this happening simultaneously.
Yeah,
Mind you,
some things did
COVID.
happen. Some things did happen simultaneously. For
Okay.
instance, we started work quite a while now on the regulation.
Right.
But then there was this legislative hurdle
Mhm.
to with the other body of legislation
That you had
coming
mentioned.
under that parent.
Yes.
It's the same ministry. So that was unfortunate, that collision there.
Mhm.
And but we just have to find a way, because Jamaica needs some sort of relief
Yes.
in terms of creating an environment, employing the safe systems approach. There's so many safe systems approach measures in the new Road Traffic Act.
Yes.
But there's no way that any agency can start working
Mhm.
until
Unless-
it's in law.
Understood.
Because the law is challenged,
Yes, yes, true. Well,
even traffic.
absolutely. Yeah, well, we definitely are going to continue to keep this on the agenda throughout, just until something happens beyond where we are right now. Something more that will take us a little faster. Oops, maybe wrong choice of words there. Not too fast, but we know that you're all as stakeholders committed to the cause, and we just hope and pray and trust that we will work to once and for all just have this, all the elements in place, all the tools in place. Yes, so that we can make it happen. But feel free, we remain available to road safety stakeholders whenever you're ready to share the updates, and even without your urgings, we're prepared to keep the word out there, because
we know that, and
yes,
we're really grateful for that.
yeah, lives.
Over the years,
Yes.
you've done that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you and your team and the other stakeholders who have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And we just want to wish you all the best, and pray and hope that you'll continue to have the strength to go on in service to this blessed country of ours. Thank you. Thank you. All the best. Bye-bye. Mrs. Paula Fletcher is the Executive Director of the National Road Safety Council, and she has been giving us an update on the new Road Traffic Act. And obviously, there are so many other elements that need to fall into place in order for us to be able to move from here with this new Road Traffic Act. In the meantime, let's look at our roads. Let's go on our roads, in a manner of speaking, with the Manager of Communication and Customer Service at the National Works Agency, NWA, Mr. Stephen Shaw. Good afternoon. All the best for 2022. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Dervan. Good afternoon, listeners. Thank you. Well, thanks.
As far as you are aware, what kind of impact is the new Road Traffic Act likely to have on what you and your team do at the National Works Agency? Or is it the other way around?
Well, I think it's a combination of both things. But one of the more obvious things that it ought to do is that it ought to make persons slow down a bit more. And if that is the case, then we should see less damage being done to our road furniture as a result of vehicular accidents.
Yes.
And that is something that I don't think we have quantified it in an extensive way.
True.
But we do know that the cost is significant when you look at the numbers of parapet wall, fine, among other things, that would have been damaged as a result of motor vehicle accidents. There is no doubt that the cost is high right across the country when you look at it in a cumulative way.
And in a number of instances, the road furniture I have no doubt, would have helped to save some lives.
Yes, yes. That's really one of the main reasons for us putting up those walls and signs.
Mm-hmm.
Is really to assist in making our roadways safer for the motoring public.
Yes.
I mean, if we had not been putting the carpets in some of these areas, then you'll have persons driving over at least, you know, with the carpets, with the signs that are there. Either you're advised of a particular situation, or you are helped to stay on the road, so that, you know, we don't have situations like that which we have seen too often,
Mm-hmm.
where persons falling into a precipice and you know, dying or being damaged or being injured.
Yes.
In a significant way.
Every now and then we hear motorists and road users in general, citizens in certain areas, complaining about how a particular roadway has been constructed or otherwise built, otherwise established in relation to the existing environment or the previous road, etc. How much attention is placed to safety in terms of the how we construct or enhance our road infrastructure?
You know, it is a key component of what we do. So we look at the curves that are there. We look at gradient. We look at material type. All of those things go into what we do insofar as the construction of a road is concerned. Because, you know, there's a reason we say, for example, when we're giving approvals for development, that a road should not be above a certain percentage. We say that the sighting distance must be so much. We say that you know, you shouldn't have a minor road intersecting another one at right angles and so on. So all of those things are as a result of the safety concerns that we have when we look at either us doing the work or where, you know, we have developers going about doing work.
Yes. And what usually happens in instances, because you can't always identify who damaged the road furniture, the signs, the protective barriers, etc. I would imagine this is another reason to have in place cameras in the traffic environment. That would help.
But certainly, but I mean, we have not been using the cameras in that regard. When we started this whole idea of installing cameras along the network, is really to assist us in traffic management, in counts, and looking at traffic patterns. You know, the other things that would have happened as a result of placing cameras are really add-on, but our primary focus has been on
traffic management.
Mm-hmm. But there are also other uses which, you know, have been put to the cameras, in particular through the Jamaica Eye program.
So going forward, because what we're hearing now is that we need to operationalize, we need to get the regulations in place, and there are other elements that need to kick in. Have you done your part already as the National Works Agency, or are you awaiting further consultations or advice as to what else will be necessary in the road traffic environment in order. Yes, go ahead.
I think in large measure we would have done what is expected of us. But of course, we're a creature of government and government policy. So whichever way the wind blows as it relates to policy, then we are obliged to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we are ready to do that which is required and that which is mandated by government insofar as our rules and responsibilities are concerned.
Good. And can you remind our listeners at home and abroad uh, of how to get in touch with the National Works Agency after this break, please, so that if they see something that they think is out of place, some adjustments that might need to be made, etc., that they can report it to the NWA. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
As you heard, 15 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Stephen Shaw has long done his homework. That's why he's manager communication and customer service at the National Works Agency, NWA. He has been giving us the NWA's perspective on this special road safety edition of Both Sides of the Story. The numbers not very encouraging at all. As we've mentioned, 484 people were killed on our roads last year. Fast forward to 2022, this is day number 31, and we have already, and day 31 is not even finished yet, and we have already lost 35 people on our roads who were involved in 39 fatal crashes. Unbelievable. So, Stephen Shaw, for those who'd like to be in touch with the National Works Agency, not just necessarily in terms of a phone call, maybe they'd like to send you a picture of a section of a roadway somewhere. What kind of communication mechanism do you have in place to foster and engender that kind of relationship?
Well, we have a regular telephone number 926-3210, and it goes up after 3210 and it goes to 9. We have our Twitter handle at NWA_JA. We are also on Facebook, and we have our website. So there are several ways that person can contact the NWA. The Communication and Customer Services Department can be contacted directly through the numbers 876-733-4178, and that number, that 78 goes up to 83.
Mm-hmm. So that's quite clear. Your customers have options.
There you go.
Very good. Well, consider this the first installment for 2022 as far as road safety broadcasts are concerned. We look forward to keeping in touch with you and your team throughout 2022 as we all play our part in bringing down these horrific road fatality numbers. Thank you for the work that you and your team continue to do, Stephen Shaw, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care. Stephen Shaw, Manager Communication and Customer Service at the National Works Agency, the NWA, giving us his agency's perspective, outlook for road safety in 2022. A less than auspicious start. It looks like we're going to have to bring forward Road Safety Month, which was originally established by the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, the JGRA, usually observed in the month of June. At the rate at which we have been killing each other on our roads, we may very well have to make Road Safety Month every month. Right, Madam President, Ms. Diane Parham, President of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association. Good afternoon. All the best for 2022. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Dervan, and good afternoon to your listeners. Happy New Year, first time on the program for this year.
Yes, very same to you. Thank you very much for joining us. And let's start with respect to the numbers. I mean, you based on your position as president of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, JGRA, surely you, like the rest of us, must be appalled and saddened and just in some instances really upset about all the carnage we have been witnessing on our roads throughout 2021, which have carried over into 2022. Is this yet a topic of discussion for the JGRA?
It is, Dervan, it is. And when we put it into context, we are in the fourth wave now with the Omicron. So there's work from home continuing, there's school, online classes. So we are not at full capacity on the roads. So it concerns us significantly that if we're not at full capacity, and certainly for last year, for a significant part of the year, we had those lockdowns and we had those work from home and we had the online classes. So we are really appalled at the numbers for last year, and we are very concerned for what it is so far in 1 month. But what I would want to take up, when you said that we would have to have road safety every month, that is really what we want. We want focus to be on road safety for all the areas that are involved.
Yes.
We must bring it to people's attention. And you know, until in most societies, the more you talk about something, is the better results you get.
Yes. So we have to keep it on the front burner.
We have to. We must.
Yes. And the other thing has to do with the level of, do you ever get a sense, you feel, all right, what do we come with this time? You come with different themes every year and you have different activities. Do you ever feel as if what else can we do? Because you've done so much over the years. How many years now? It's been decades.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
But what we find, Dervan, in the same way we continue to be in the business, we also recognize that this is something that it's a corporate social responsibility that we take on as an association. And you'd be surprised to know that some simple things that we do, we almost lost hope when you remember we had those under 300.
Yes.
And when we did so much and we had so much signage, all the areas, the road safety unit, we all did everything. And we just cannot go in. But the direction that it's going now is what is bothering us with the context of the COVID 19 situation.
Yes.
Which is very concerning now for us.
I can well imagine. And here we are as well with respect to the Road Traffic Act that is still being worked on in terms of the regulations to operationalize the act. Has the JGRA taken an interest in this act?
We have, and we sit on the Road Safety Council, and each time we go, we heard that December there would have been a pilot. It's about a year plus now. It should have been completed. And as we continue along this road, Dervan, it concerns us more and more how relevant that act is going to be, and if we're going to make amendments again by the time it is implemented. When legislation takes that length of time, what you find is that sometimes something that would have probably been overlooked Now that the legislation comes in, you find that food should have been the priority.
Yes.
We want to send the legislation to go through it so we can see the impact. That's the whole electronic ticketing system. We really expect that to have a significant impact on the numbers. We're really expecting that.
And from the standpoint of your membership and your service stations across this country, operated by your members, we've had situations, and we've been noticing that for the most part, that service station in the heart of Halfway Tree seems to have been able, along with the help of the police, to keep people out of the service station and preventing them from using it as a bus terminus or some other rest spot. But I gather the problem still persists at some other service stations across the country. How's your membership coping with that situation?
Well, I must admit, we get a lot of help from the JCF, the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Yes.
They're usually at our locations. They help us to move. But what we want is a level of discipline from our motorists. Even I've been talking about this from late last year. You come to a service station and you see the sign: no naked light, no smoking, shut off your engine, no cell phone. And you bring it to the customer's attention. And the way some people handle the CSR.
They're wrong and strong.
You understand what I'm saying? There's some people, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was on the phone. Let me wind up my window. Just come, and then you serve me. They cooperate. But what we find is that this is something, I say, at a gas station, it only takes a spark. It only takes a spark.
One spark. Yeah, true.
One spark. That's all we need. And this is there. You see it, and people still continue to ignore it. There are some tenets that we have, that every opportunity we get, we have to put it on. We always wear a helmet. The cyclists, we want them to always wear
a helmet. Yes.
Always wear your seatbelt. You understand what I'm saying? Never use your mobile phone when driving. We have something that's called driver fatigue.
Yeah, and it's
if you feel tired while driving, pull over.
That's
and we say these every year. We have stickers with them. We put them up every year. So probably every month, as you say, is what we probably need to do to get the message.
Some reminders. Yes, throughout. Yes.
Yes, because these are reminders that want everybody, because we cater for the pedestrian, we cater for the pedal cyclists, and we cater for the drivers. So we have tips for everybody. Never drink and drive. Just always use your pedestrian crossing.
Yes.
Always use. Take care. We always say as well, be safe, be seen. If you're in a darkly lit area, wear something bright.
Right.
If there, and these are things that we say every year, Dervan. A part of our program as well for our Labor Day activity, we normally paint
pedestrian crossings
all over the country because it is something that we want to encourage.
Right.
So these are some of the things that we say. It may sound cliche, but what we're saying, we're not getting the results. If it becomes cliche and everybody understands it, and we're all doing it, then we shouldn't have the level of carnage that we have on the road.
Well said.
We shouldn't. So slow down. Something as simple. Observe the speed limit. We say to people, observe the speed limit. What's difficult with that?
Yeah.
What's difficult with that? That's all we're saying. Some of the things that we're saying, we say them every year. But we are not satisfied with the results, so we have to continue saying it.
There you go.
We think it is something last year we focused on children, we went into the schools. We want to continue that this year as well. Right. Because we find that when you start this at a young age, then you reap more rewards.
In fact, there's been another push. Every now and then we hear it come up that we should really be teaching our children how to use our roads and also how to drive. We teach them in school.
Yes.
The rules of the road and so on. Yes.
Yes. And I don't know if when you have your children and they see you do something wrong, they say, Mommy, Why did you do that? Why did you know?
Yes.
So when we educate our children as well, we hope to get better results.
True.
So we're really going to consider that again this year.
Yeah. Well, we are looking forward to highlighting the work that the JGRA will continue to do in 2022. We thank you for keeping up the advocacy, and we're sure that the country will continue to benefit from your work in so many ways.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Right. It's really our corporate responsibility, and we are always available to speak on your case.
Excellent. Thank you too. Take care. You too, Ms. Diane Parham, President of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, JGRA, on this very special road safety edition of Both Sides of the Story for 2022. 35 people killed on our roads in 31 days, and the 31st day is still not done. What a thing.
6 FM. The time is now
4:30. Save more on prescription, cosmetics, gift items, toiletries, and stationery at Biomed Pharmacy, 4 St. Hilda's Drive, Brownstown, 917-8464, and Main Street, Gale St. Mary, 975-8275. Biomed Pharmacy, for the service you expect, plus more.
The road ahead is empty. It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way.
Que hora es en español? Son las 5:29. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:29. 现在几点了？5点29分。29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue on this very special road safety edition of Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. 2021 was a horrific year for road fatalities in Jamaica. 484 people killed on our roads in 2021. Here we are in 2022, and you know, a new year usually brings hope and a sense that things will be better and that we would learn from our mistakes and learn from our experiences and learn from what has happened to others. Well, there's still a lot of learning to do, because on this, the 31st day of the first month of 2022, we have lost 35 people on our roads. And the 31st day is not done yet. It's just too much. But we have to press on, and we have to do what we need to do to tackle this scourge. Let's find out how the police have been coping. Their hands are full in more ways than one. They have to deal with crime, which, road safety and the general management of traffic falls within their purview as well. So they have to deal with crime and road fatalities, or trying to prevent, trying to help to keep us safe on our roads in more ways than one. And they have to deal with COVID-19, etc., etc. I wonder how they're coping. Let's find out from Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Gary McKenzie, head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB. Welcome and all the best for 2022. ACP McKenzie, how are you?
Good afternoon to you. I'm very well. Good afternoon to your listeners as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We accept your afternoon greetings on their behalf. How's your team? Let's start there. Your very colorful team, literally and figuratively. We can see you from a mile, which is deliberate. That's part of safety and giving us that assurance because your presence does in fact make a difference. How would you describe the men and women of the general mood of your men and women of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB?
What I would say, Dervan, is that, they are very eager to do all that we can do to ensure that we improve the level of road safety and certainly safety in the public spaces. As you have outlined not, a while ago, we have lost 484 persons on our roads last year, and we have not started well. We have done the analysis and we recognize that we have some vulnerable road users to include motorcyclists, pedestrians, private motor car drivers and passengers. We also would noted the causes, and we find that persons are driving at excessive speed. They are failing to keep to the left of the road. And what was really what was astonishing, Derval, is the fact that we had quite a number of single vehicle crashes last year, and near to 100. And so we are concerned about the kind of focus.
Yeah, it sounds like some possibly distractive driving in terms of maybe use of cell phones or otherwise maybe intoxicated.
Definitely. Well, there appears to be some distraction. It could be fatigue as well.
Mm-hmm.
We had some 40 persons that were found to be positive in terms of driving with excess alcohol. We had some 17 convictions, persons, losing their licenses for a year and so on. But we recognize that we have to cover a wider scope because we believe that persons are driving, could be driving under the influence of alcohol. But one of the things that we have to move towards, Derval, is to test for other substances, which we believe may contribute as well. But what we are seeing is the fact that the police have to be all around. And as such, we are trying to strategize in terms of being in the areas where the crashes are most likely to occur and to target the persons that we believe to be more vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Last year, 163 persons traveling on motorcycles, to include drivers and pillion riders, lost their lives.
My God.
And we have to focus on this group. We know that a large number of persons that drive motorcycles, they do not have driver's license. And even though we have changed where persons now have to acquire provisional driver's licenses by going through a test, there's still a large number of persons who are driving motorcycles that were never trained and understand the use of the road. We also note some practices in terms of how they maneuver in the roadways. And we are trying to curb that very early this year to reduce the number of deaths that may come to us. So the mood really is one of care. Mm-hmm. The mood is one of eagerness in terms of doing all that we can to reduce the number of crashes and fatalities.
Yes. And are there particular, you've shared with us a wealth of information there already, but are there particular things other than what you've shared with us that you have noticed we are not paying attention to, or as much attention as we need to pay to these things as we move about as road users in general, particular common errors, for example, that people are making, road users are making, and the extent to which you have been able to prosecute some of these people?
Well, one of the things that we see, Derval, is that persons are not driving according to the conditions of the road.
we see that very often, especially when the road is wet. Once the road is wet, then it simply means that there is necessity to slow down. But what we see is that persons try to move at the same pace when the road is dry. When the road is wet, there is the likelihood of skidding, there's the likelihood of hydroplaning, there's the likelihood of when you apply your brake that the vehicle slide into the rear of other vehicles or off the roadway. And so it is very important for that to happen. The kind of care in terms of the conditions of the road. The other thing that we are not doing as well as we should is how we use the road at night. Some drivers tend to put on very bright lights, they blind the oncoming person, and we have some of the roads that are yet we are yet to see some of them installed with central white lines. Some are faded, and so it makes it difficult. When someone approaches with a bright light, the tendency is for the oncoming driver to use those lines to guide them as to where they are. If those lines are not available, it can be very difficult. And so it is very important that we adjust our lights on our motor vehicles at night. It's very important.
Yes.
In Jamaica, your right headlight, it should be a little to the left. The left one should be straight. And if there are additional lights, then it must be focused downward.
Mm-hmm.
What we are seeing is the opposite, where lights on the right are shining towards other vehicles. Lights are projected straight ahead or up slightly, and these kinds of things makes it very difficult for persons to navigate, and these things result in crashes.
Yeah. And what's the extent to which you have been able to carry out nighttime operations, for example, to catch in the act, so to speak, those who have improperly outfitted their units, their vehicles, with these blinding lights?
We have done a number of these operations. We have removed a number of registration plates. We have prosecuted with the aid of certified examiners. The truth is that we need to do far more. This is one thing that we need to intensify as we go forward, because unless people operate safely, then we are likely to have crashes. And we also need for persons to utilize their seat belts. We have been prosecuting drivers, but certainly passengers are required to wear their seat belts, especially those persons in the rear of vehicles. And so we will prosecute where we can, and hopefully the new regulations will come on stream where we can prosecute fulsome in terms of everyone who is in the vehicle.
To what extent have you been able to digest the data of the new Road Traffic Act and its implications for you and the men and women of PSTEB?
Well, we have been looking at a number of things. There are quite some benefits that I know will come once it comes into commission. Chief of them being the fact that we will be able to issue traffic tickets for careless driving and some other offenses that we had to issue normal summons, which sometimes it takes some time, it is inconvenient. We also expect that the fines for some offenses that are now very meager, that they will be increased. We also expect that there are a number of breaches that did not have demerit points, that those will have demerit points, and that driver's licenses will be suspended, which is a key part of what we need to get going. Because if you issue traffic tickets and people acquire demerit points and their driver's license are not being suspended when it ought to, then the circle of enforcement would not be completed, and these same persons that are driving poorly you continue to prosecute them without the prosecution being a deterrent.
I see. Sounds like you've really been digesting it so far. You're up on the data as to what new we can expect. As we wrap though, what for you is going to be the main focus going forward in 2022 as far as uh, traffic management and road safety are concerned?
Well, the main focus is to dominate the thoroughfares as much as possible. We have some areas that we term bad spots where 2 or more persons die within a year. We know that those areas caused us about 200 road fatalities last year, so we have to focus on that. But importantly, we have to work along with our support stakeholders to include the Island Traffic Authority. And we also have to stay very close to the National Road Safety Council.
One moment, I'll allow you to wrap in just a moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Relax, Paul, cover your nose and your mouth now and stay far from me. It looks like the flu have you away.
I mean, to tell you, I have fever this morning. Right now, I'm in some pain. But I still have to try go for Pinky to get some phone credit.
It's like you never hear a thing where the nurse tell me the other day. She said we feel rest if we have the flu. We feel cover with nose and with mouth when we cough or we sneeze. And we feel wash we hand regular with soap and water. You better try go back to your yard and stop spread the flu. The flu is no joke. Visit your doctor or nearest health center. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Consumer Talks, educating and empowering consumers towards a more vigilant and confident consumer-friendly Jamaica. Join us every second and last Tuesday of each month at 9:35 on Real Business. Listen and learn about your rights and responsibilities. Learn how the CAC works to empower consumers in Jamaica. Consumer Talks, brought to you by the Consumer Affairs Commission, protecting your rights, securing our future.
14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? We've been having a very fruitful discussion here on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, we're about to wrap our conversation with Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Gary McKenzie, who heads the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB for short. You were recommitting to working with your other stakeholders, and I think we had to take the break at NRSC, National Road Safety Council.
Right. So I was saying that we have to continue to work with the National Road Safety Council. Certainly, this is the main lobby group and, the monitor for road safety issues. And one of the things that I would like to see is how well we can improve our road environment in terms of marks, in terms of ensuring that we have all those signs that will not only enable prosecutions, but first and foremost, guide motorists and allow them to be able to learn how to use the roadways. That is going to be very important. But outside of that, the police will continue to also work along with varying associations to include the transportation organization that plays a very important role in terms of travel and to educate and to see how best we can inculcate the kind of discipline and behavior that will improve road safety.
Well, we want to congratulate you and commend and thank you and your team at the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch on the work that you've been doing so far. And we look forward to the work that you will be doing in 2022 and beyond. We stand ready to help to get the word out there as far as road safety, as we all continue to play our part in making Jamaica's road network safer. Thanks a lot, ACP Mackenzie, and all the very best to you and the team at the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. Peace, Deb.
Okay, thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Take care. Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary Mackenzie, head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And that takes us to a gentleman who has more than just a passing interest in what happens on our roads, especially with respect to our motorcyclists, considering that they are already exposed and overexposed when they fail to properly outfit themselves with the requisite protective gear. And so we're happy to have joining us orthopedic surgeon at St. Anne's Bay Hospital, Dr. Carey Fletcher. Good afternoon, Dr. Fletcher. All the best for 2022. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, and good afternoon to your listeners. I'm fine, thanks.
Great. What is it about those of us who are motorcyclists and helmets? We seem to, is it part of the Jamaican thing where everybody has to see you, and if the helmet is over the head, then nobody will see who you are? I don't know. I'm just wondering, why do you think it's such an issue in Jamaica where not enough of us are wearing our helmets?
Okay, well, thanks for that question. The St. Anne's Bay Hospital, the orthopedic department, actually has done formal research on motorcycle injuries. It was conducted over 2.25 years, and one of the things we did look at was the helmet compliance. So overall, we found that 29% of the riders wore their helmets. And in terms of the reason why they weren't wearing their helmets, 53% of them, it was because of a variation of riding a short distance. So one of the major take-home messages I'd like to get across to the listeners is just because you're going just up the road, you still can have a major accident resulting in major injuries plus or minus death.
In fact, isn't there research to say that a lot of crashes and collisions take place when we're closer to home or something like that?
That is correct. Within 5 minutes.
Yes.
Because the natural tendency is for you to drop your guard, you're almost there. I'm not sure if you're a sports enthusiast, but when you watch football, most goals are scored in the first 5 minutes or the last 5 minutes.
But the reggae boys could tell you something about that. But anyway, go on.
So that was the commonest reason in that.
Hello? Quickly. Let's see if we can get him back quickly because we don't have a lot of time. Oh, dear. We were just learning a lot from the research being done that has been done by Dr. Carey Fletcher and his team at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital. Dr. Fletcher is an orthopedic surgeon, and he and his team have done research on those motorcyclists who have been taken to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, and already we're getting some figures. 29% of the motorcyclists were in fact wearing their helmets, and also in terms of those who had other reasons not wearing the helmets, etc. And we have so much more ground to cover on this subject, and we hope we're able to get in some of it. I wonder if it's a case that the battery died. His battery died, perhaps. He's a doctor and he's always on call. One would imagine that anything is possible. Dr. Fletcher, if you're hearing us and are able to maybe borrow a phone to call us, assuming that your battery died or otherwise, or perhaps you had to go off to an emergency. But whatever the case, we have to have you back on, Dr. Fletcher, if not this afternoon, perhaps tomorrow, all things being well. because we need to discuss other matters coming out of the research, the business of license. How many of these motorcycles are licensed? How many of these motorcyclists are licensed to operate motorcycles? And the business of insurance is another topic that comes up, or lack thereof, with respect to motorcycles and motorcyclists. The parts of the body, the areas of the body that are usually injured, and those who imbibe, who drink alcohol and then proceed to operate a motorcycle. And what about the mechanisms of injury and the need for formal training? So it's a lot of ground we still have to cover with Dr. Gary Fletcher, orthopedic surgeon at St. Anne's Bay Hospital. We're so sorry that we were not able to get in a word in these closing moments of the program. We have tons of messages, mixed messages, not all related to road safety. So, for example, we have Steve in Toronto, Canada, saying, please say hello to Miss Parham for me. She went to Manning School, a very brilliant person, says Steve. She's also a proud Westmorelite. She was one of those individuals who I and the students looked up to at Manning's. Really proud of her. Miss Parham is such a humble individual, says Steve in Toronto, Canada. Thank you, Steve. Let's see. We're sure we're going to have to come back to this issue because we don't have enough time, but we'll do our best in the time we have left. And thank you very much, Dr. Fletcher, for rejoining us. So you talked about helmet wearing. You are finished with that point, right?
Because of time constraints, I would say yes.
Right. And then the business of licensing now, the licensing of motorcyclists and their motorcycles. What did the research reveal?
The research revealed that 25% of the riders had license and 26% had insurance. And the reason why we decided to look at it was because we wanted to assess the roadworthiness of the rider. I had mentioned earlier that it's 29% compliance with the helmet.
Yes.
Those who had license and insurance, the compliance now was 59%. And so while 59% are wearing a helmet, and while that's not acceptable, it's twice the overall average. So what that tells you is that the people who are taking risks are uniformly taking risks in terms of no helmet, no license, no insurance.
My God. And what about the body parts that usually are significantly impacted by these motorcycle crashes?
So the lower limb injuries have been dogging us, especially on orthopedics. 55% of the study had lower limb injuries, and lower limb injuries resulted in the highest hospitalization rate and the highest need for surgical intervention, in particular the thigh, the leg, and the ankle. So one of the major take-home messages from the study as well is that in addition to helmets, we are also advocating for the wearing of lower limb protective gear.
Right. And it goes without saying, if you drink and drive, you're going to have issues.
Yes.
It's no different with a motorcyclist, is it?
Correct. So we found that 37% of the riders potentially were under the influence of alcohol. I have to say.
How many percent? What's the percentage?
37.
Okay.
I have to use the word potentially because we did not have breathalyzer testing or blood alcohol levels at our disposal, and that's something that we desperately need to get island-wide.
Right.
I know that the police is doing it currently in a limited capacity, but it needs to expand significantly. What we found with regards to alcohol was that you were 3 more times likely to need to be admitted if you had consumed alcohol within 3 hours of the crash, and 84% of those who had consumed alcohol had needed admission.
My word. And then now the business of training. A lot of these motorcyclists just follow their friends in the communities and they say, yes, man, we can ride bike now.
Okay, so in the 2.25 years, we saw 155 patients and only 3 were formally trained. And of the 3, 1 shouldn't count. It's a Canadian tourist living in Canada. The second one is a policeman, and the third one raced at Dover. So what that tells you is that the regular, ordinary citizen isn't formally trained.
That's dangerous.
That's a problem. And the importance of training, I really would need to talk to you another day.
I hope tomorrow isn't too soon for you.
No, it's fine, actually. What time?
We can work that out off air.
Sure.
Let's confirm that with you off air. What time works best for you between 2 and 5? You speak with our program assistant, please.
No problem.
Thanks a lot, though. Take care. We're almost out of time. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, the Road Safety Edition. 484 people perished on our roads in 2021. On this, the 31st day of 2022, 35 people have been killed on our roads. And this 31st day isn't done yet. Well, our time is up. We have to go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the Road Safety Unit. I'm in trouble now. All the road safety stakeholders and our team at Power 106 FM. Lorna Lewis, Vivette Malcolm, and the entire team. Sheridan Hutchinson. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
The preceding road safety broadcast during Both Sides of the Story was brought to you by Wellington Dental, Margins Pharmacy, Royal Medical Clinic and Hospital, Biomed Pharmacy, Gold Plus Auto Supplies and Accessories, Rose Family Pharmacy, the Road Safety Unit, and the National Works Agency.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Good afternoon, I am Dervan Gordon. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines, today, Monday, January 31, 2022. More uncertainty surrounding air traffic services after emergency meeting fails to settle wake
Hi, Mrs. Barker.
involving air traffic controllers.
I'm
Security
fine, thanks. How are you?
says new find on the gun-incentive
Oh, yes, I was
result
watching.
in the arrest of more
Yes.
criminal suspects.
You mean today?
Crime scene expert
Yesterday.
attempted to locate a compact
Yes, man, I
disc
saw it.
containing evidence pertaining to the
I saw it.
one-gun trial. Jamaica's murder figure for 2022.
Maybe the women, the
now
West Indies
behind
women.
Last year's. In business news,
And I think they won their match, their first match.
For even higher like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Say that again? Oh, yes. What a remarkable performance. Yeah. Yeah, he's very talented. Very talented. No, they seem to have been coasting at one stage. Yes. Yes, they got quite a surprise. Yes, it was a hat trick. No, it got a hat trick.
All the details of the news
I saw that. Yes.
and online at RadioJamaica94.com. There is